Welcome to Deep Thought. Change is in the air. You know what? If you follow social media and you watch the news, you see everything, you would think the sky is falling. In a way it is. The nature of life is something is always going to come down. Something's always going to happen. Civilizations come, they rise, they develop, they rise up, they fall, something new rises up. Housing prices. We're probably headed to a recession, and we might have never really got out the last one, right? Because, just as an aside, people always talk about how many jobs we had, but we got to think about the quality of jobs, right? We always got to think about it. Be careful. Look at when they announce statistics, look at it with a fine-tooth comb and then compare it to what you actually see. You keep hearing about jobs being added, but yet around me, like in a shopping mall near me, and I'm in a fairly affluent area, it's close to, the median income is close to $100,000. Right? There's a shopping mall with one that has a Toys R Us that's going out of business, right? So it got 3 big store spaces that are empty. So, you got to look at a lot of stuff coming. You got the retail apocalypse. You go on social media, there's always something bad happens, some racist incident, school shooting, something like that. I'm here to tell you, though, despite all of that, things will get better because, once again, history is a pendulum. Because whenever, it's a general rule of thumb. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So when things are going down, it actually creates something else. Like all of these school shootings, it's creating an awareness of gun violence and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to say or even advocate people take guns, but now people really thinking about it, right? People have to talk about it. People have to think, okay, what can we do? Now, some reaction, arm the teachers. Yeah, okay. That'll work until some teacher is just in a bad day and just wants to shoot a student for mouthing off. That's not the answer. The ultimate answer is just overall culture, but that's deeper than a 10-minute video, right? But regardless of everything, there's always stuff happening. There's always a change. There's always somebody doing something. You might drive through some impoverished neighborhood, right? And you see an empty lot, right? And you're just like, man, look at that blight right there, right? A few empty lots. But then somebody will pop up and, they'll clean that lot up and start planting some food and get the community involved. That's a change. That could lead to something bigger. You always get somebody who might look at everything and say, you know what, this can't happen. This is pitiful. Let me do something. Even and in fact, you get a lot of people, no matter what's going on, they're looking at it as a good thing because they can take advantage of it. For example, you have a lot of houses being foreclosed on. That housing crisis, that's still happening. And see, the housing crisis affects banks and everything else. But then there's somebody sitting back like, wait a minute, I can get a bunch of homes for free, Or not free, but y'all know what I mean, at a reduced cost. Some banks might say, hey, I can take over this bank right here or something. And then again, somebody might say, you know what, why don't we create a better way of banking or, create something? Because usually what happens is people respond. No matter how bad it is, people respond. Even in a political situation now, quasi is kept, there's been a grassroots movement of progressives to counter, this conservative thing we have now. And I know, and this ain't to speak against people with conservative leanings, but it's just a reality. Because if it was reversed and it was progressives doing some stuff, there would be a counter movement of conservatives. But whatever the case, sometimes people see the skies falling. Sometimes if you sit back and look, you can see the better thing. You can say, okay, this is my response. It creates something else, no matter how bad it is. Now, people have different opinions of our, current president. I see him as the reaction to him is creating something better. People, you know what? There might be that one person out there who say, you know what? This person got elected despite professional politicians from two different parties. Because remember, he had to beat out politicians in the Republican Party. Somebody might just say, you know what? We need something new. That's a change right there. I'm still waiting for somebody just to say, you know what, we need something just totally different. Which if I ever get around to starting a political channel, people don't know how deep I can get into politics. That's really the only answer. Something more grassroots, or build up some of the grassroots parties that are already there. And you never know. You never know how to change, because the people they're going to respond to it. Sometimes that's the catalyst. But the change is in the air. And I can see it. There's a lot of indications that things aren't as bad. I mean, even in the black community, because I know I have a predominantly African American audience. Even in the black community, there's really some indicators which I keep to myself. I don't put out over the air. Because trust me, there's 3 major movements happening, and a lot of people don't really see it. It's almost invisible, but that's a change in itself. It'll create something different. See, one of the things you have to do is say, okay, well, what's going to be the response from this? And I already see some things now. Some things, like I said, I don't talk about over the air. I don't want to put out the possibility of, since they're not talked about. Well, one movement is talked about, and please don't ask me in the comments. But the other 2, people talk about it but haven't seen the implications of one. And the other one, surprisingly, I haven't seen any major news about it. I'm not sure how that happened. But nobody's talking about the implications. Or actually, I don't think people know the implications of the third one. So I'll leave it at that. But the fact of the matter is, the change is coming. And I think the change is going to be profound. And it's all over. And it's not just a change affecting the black community, but the earth itself. You have people, there's a lot of people, they coming up with inventions, whatever. They looking at how we doing business, and they're saying, you know what, we got to do something different. Because one of the problems, though, the news media is primarily propaganda for major corporations. So they only going to put out stuff. They're not going to talk about somebody who's come up with a cure for cancer. Because you got too many people making money off of it. And in fact, and this leans towards the conspiracy side of things. There have been several holistic doctors who've been killed mysteriously. Now, for a certain population, for people to die, that's some major stuff. But even then, there will always be a resistance. So and trust me, there's some stuff I know now that can change a lot of stuff. And it's there. It's just a matter of it spreading. So, I mean, the change is in the air. The change is in the air. And it's coming, no matter what you see in the news. See, understand, there's an economic benefit from keeping people upset. Because the thing is, you keep people upset, what they do. They have fear. They support certain political agendas. They keep buying stuff. They keep up with the distractions to keep them from really addressing any issues. But the change is still in the air. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Let's keep rising and transforming. Peace.